Good evening. Good evening. Welcome, welcome. Welcome everyone to the Angela Hayes podcast show. This is your host, Angela Hayes, Life with No Limits. And my co-host today is Mr. GMT broadcasting himself, Mr. Kenji.
Yeah, I'm here. Let me give myself some hand claps.
Yeah, come on. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. Please hit the like and share button as we move into this podcast this evening. We welcome you to episode 12 of our podcast. Follow us here on social media, Facebook, our business page, Unique Foundations Enterprise, and also hop over to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe, and then share that information as well. And so this broadcast here today, we're here to bring you at Angela Hayes Podcast Show, where we share information, insights, opportunities, stories from business owners and entrepreneurs, authors, ministers, professionals, and those in our community. Today, we're continuing our conversation on learning to pivot. But before we get started, I know that's a big word, small word, but it's a big word.
It comes with a lot.
It comes with a whole lot.
Yeah.
And we find that out in life. And as we talked about on last week, we talking about learning to pivot from different aspects of life.
Yeah.
And so that can be challenging.
I believe it's gonna be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime change comes.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been in that norm for years.
Oh yeah, in the routine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because anytime you go from that norm to something that's unknown,
right? Yeah. It can be.
Yeah, it can be very challenging.
It can be challenging. It can be scary.
But the one thing that you said last week, and I've heard it, do it scared.
Do it afraid.
We have to do it. We have to do it afraid.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, and that's a part of walking in faith as well.
Yeah.
Because anything that's new to us, and we don't see the next steps,
the hows, and
the
what's,
and right, and what's next.
Yeah.
And how and what the results are going to be, how it's going to come out, if it's going to work. And see, this applies, audience, to business. This applies to your relationships. This applies to your worth, your work.
Yeah.
This applies to even your health, your wellness. And so that's why we say so many aspects of life, because many times you don't know, and we don't know everything. And that's where we have to allow that trust factor to kick in for us. And the one we really should be depending on that knows our future is the Lord himself.
Yes, stand on it.
Stand on it. I don't care what it look like. I don't care what it seems like. What, and I don't care what it feel like.
You gotta stand on if and then you know what I heard this lady told me this here, and I'm gonna put this out there. When you ask God, and you know how you pray to God, God, just show me this and give me this, and I want to get closer to you.
Ooh,
so
you better know what you asking.
I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes when you ask it, he gotta move people who really close to you, so you can get closer to him. And so I was told, don't get mad at God because he's doing what you asked him to do.
Right. He didn't tell you how he was going to do it. And he didn't tell you everything that was required.
Man.
And you said a key factor. I said, oh my goodness, now you're starting to navigate my life in the last 2.5 years.
Which is a pivot.
It is a pivot.
So man.
And it is a pivot. I'm still saying is because I'm still pivoting, but in some areas I did pivot. It wasn't popular.
Right.
It was contrary to some beliefs.
Right.
And I put up a post today, that what you decide to do as far as aligning yourself with your destined purpose, and the
Yeah.
road that you need to travel,
Right.
it's not going to please everybody. You're not going to
Right.
make everybody
Right.
happy. But the most important thing is that you're pleasing the Father,
Right.
because that's all that really matters at the end of
Right.
the day.
Right.
You know.
And
And
and I'm gonna say this here, you know, life, business, and all of it. It for me,
mhm.
uh, I look at destination
Mhm.
and I look at journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
some people can be a part of your pivot
Yes.
just to a destination,
Yes.
but they not along for the journey.
Yes. For the long haul.
For the journey,
Mhm.
because a journey is a
Right.
journey could be non-stop
Right.
journey of life, but the destination could be I get this microphone
Mhm.
and that's it.
Right.
And I'm cool and I'm content with the mic. We don't have to buy no more.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
But journey, man, is we looking beyond all of this. We getting bigger mics, bigger studio, bigger.
Right.
You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely.
And the reason why I'm saying is because a lot of times,
Mhm.
when we pivot,
Mhm.
we want other people to pivot with us,
We do, and we want them to come
man.
alongside of us.
And you think that they supposed to pivot with you,
Yes,
and it just does.
and not
Sometimes it
necessarily
don't
so.
work like that.
It doesn't always work like that. And
Yeah,
and the thing about it, Kenji, I've learned that God always have our best interests at heart.
man,
And so
always.
if that, if it was somebody that was supposed to pivot with GMT radio,
Yeah,
when you got to a certain stage,
yeah,
a certain phase, if it was somebody supposed to pivot with
yeah,
me, you know, I mentioned last week I'm in ministry.
yeah,
So if it was someone that was supposed to pivot with me in ministry,
yeah.
you know,
They would have
they
pivoted
would have
with you.
pivoted.
Yeah, yeah,
But when you're on that journey,
yeah.
because you probably like me, you want to keep everybody,
I
because
do,
I'm a person, I love people.
man.
And but the thing about it, God already knows.
Yep,
He already knows what's ahead.
yep,
He knows all of our mindsets. He knows our hearts.
yep,
He knows what he has in his plans for you. He
yep,
knows what he has in plans for me and anybody else that
yep.
comes along that journey. And so he wants the best for us. So in order for us to walk in that destined purpose, sometimes it just has to be
I
that
gotta
way.
pull back. I
You
gotta pull these people
right,
back,
right.
and especially if you saying you want to get close to me,
Mhm.
because I'm going,
Mhm.
I'm going
Mhm.
through it.
Right.
Um, Transparent.
Go ahead.
Um, I'm thinking that my sibling is supposed to ride with me and everything.
Right. Oh yeah.
You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I
Yeah.
never thought you would remove my sibling
Mhm.
away from me. Not death or nothing like that, but
Yeah.
just pull them back.
Mhm.
So, but I understand it now because I see you clearly now.
Yes.
My sibling was right here,
Right.
and I was relying on my sibling more than
Right.
I was relying on
Oh,
me.
you better say
You
something.
know what I'm saying?
And I can witness to that. I can
Yeah,
attest to that because, like you said, not necessarily anything bad. Me and my one of my siblings,
right,
she and I, we ride or dies,
right,
growing up together, always
right,
have been, and so then there came a point in her journey, my journey, and the pivot started happening with our jobs
right,
and our professions. And
right,
so her profession took her to another city,
right.
and my profession left me where I was, but I was there. But then even with that, there was a major pivot.
Yeah,
But we see now we're so much better for it now,
yeah.
because we see, oh, this had to happen.
This had to happen.
This was for her good. This was for my good.
Yeah,
No love. We have not no love lost
yeah,
at all,
yeah.
because we'll always be
But I
sisters.
know it had to be confusing a little bit
Yeah.
to for y'all to be like here,
Yeah.
and then we got to decide to go here.
Right. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
oh man,
Because we get attached to each
yeah,
other,
yeah,
as people, we get attached
yeah,
because we were created to live
yeah,
in community,
yeah,
right? And not saying that we still can't be
yeah,
attached, but sometimes we're going to be physically
So
apart.
so let me ask you this. So when that situation happened, was you able to see God a little bit clear, or was your relationship with God a little bit did you get a little bit closer?
Oh, absolutely.
See,
Absolutely.
and sometimes
Absolutely.
like
And
man,
so did she.
and then that's why I say sometimes we can be
Hmm.
so dependent on
Right.
what's there with us that we're
Yes,
not dependent on God,
that's
and
true.
and that's a pivot
That's a pivot
spiritually.
because, yeah,
You know what I'm
right. Because
saying?
he wants our undivided attention.
Exactly. And then I was told that God is a jealous God.
He, you, I was,
You
man,
know
I
what
was
I'm
about to
saying?
say that.
See,
Yeah, he is.
I was told that
Yeah,
God is a jealous God, and when you start relying on such and such and not relying on me,
yeah.
we got issues.
We,
Especially if you asking me,
mm-hmm,
especially if you telling me you want to be close to me.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You
It's
feel
gonna
me?
require.
Yeah.
It's going to require us to sacrifice. It's going to require us to embrace
Yeah.
the newness of what he's doing.
Imagine you got a kid and your kid telling you, "Mom, I just want to just be close to you," but then
Hmm.
he got a a, a best friend
Hmm.
that y'all you feeling like, "Man, well, me and my kid gonna go and
Uh-huh.
but the best friend come and say, well, you want to go over here,
Yeah,
and he ride off with the best friend. Of course you're gonna be like, yeah, go play with you, but inside you gonna feel something.
some kind of
Well, man,
way.
I thought we was getting closer. I thought our bond was getting, you
Right.
know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's how God look at things, but I know that
Hmm.
when he removed, and I know I've gotten close
Right. And that's what
and
it's
I
about.
see things different.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and
So
your perspective,
they change.
your perspective
Oh my
changes. You
goodness.
know, and it changes for the
And
best.
you know what? Guess what that is? A
Hmm.
mental pivot.
Yeah, it's a lot of pivots, isn't it?
Hey, what?
Mental, physical, social,
Emotion.
yeah,
Man, look. See, you
physical.
talking about
It's a lot of
you
pivots.
talking about something like,
Hmm. Because
yeah.
our, yeah, a lot of things start here,
Mm-hmm.
and the mind is something that our adversary, our enemy, likes to take and
Whoa.
play on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he tries to infiltrate our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can infiltrate your thoughts, then your mind is always,
Should you, yeah, you always worrying.
yeah, yeah,
Always worrying.
hmm,
Can't find no kind of peace.
right. And we don't have to. We don't. It
And
doesn't
the
have to be like
and the
that.
crazy part about it is things can be chaotic around you. But if you standing on,
Hmm.
the godly situations, God's word,
Right.
you can find peace
Hmm.
in these chaotic situations. You can find
Yes.
peace in the pivots.
In the
You
pivots.
know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because a pivot can be very stressful.
Right. Let me
It,
tell
it
you.
can be.
Let me tell you. Yeah, because when I had to pivot out of the workplace,
Mm, I can imagine
I was one. I was a leader. I was had a staff.
making
I
that
was over
money,
the. Yep.
making that money.
Right. But then at the same time, being responsible and
Yeah,
held to a certain standard,
right,
a level of responsibility,
right,
and all of that.
right.
In all honestly, you really think about it. I had to think about it. Well, you just kind of hung up on that,
Yeah.
you know. But when I was pulled out of that environment
Mm.
and I had to face me.
So do you think that let me see, how can I say it? Do you think that you feel it you think you got comfortable with that character?
Yeah, yeah. Because
Because now you saying with me, you figured out with me.
right,
So the other had to be a character.
yes, a role.
Yeah, a role.
And what happens sometimes when we're playing certain roles. Good evening, Miss Curtis. Good evening. Hey friend, Monica. Thank y'all for joining us. So yes, my role began to define who I
The
was.
title, the role.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's all it is a role. That's all it
Yeah.
is a title. That's not who I am.
Right.
So, then, case in point. So, when you ask people, who are you?
Yeah.
A lot of times people say, "Oh,
I'm a doctor.
I'm a doctor,
I'm a lawyer. Yeah,
whatever. I'm it could be
yeah,
anything. I'm the manager
yeah,
at such and such or whatever.
yeah,
I'm a mother of four. I'm the wife of. I'm the husband of.
yeah.
Okay, who are you?
Yeah,
That's just your some of your roles
right,
and what you do.
right.
But who are you?
Yeah, who are you?
Yeah. And so, yes, we can
I
get
think,
caught up in that.
and you
Yeah.
know
So
what?
it
I'm gonna tell you something.
became a defining factor for me. And so when God snatched me out of that
Right.
environment and I had to deal with Angela and it was between he and I,
Yes.
my creator,
Yeah.
I had to see that whole thing for what it really was.
And I'm gonna tell you, you line up 10 people and you ask who are you, probably all 10 couldn't tell you.
Mm-hmm. And probably
Because I'm gonna say it like this here.
mm-hmm.
How many of us really sit down with ourselves
Right.
and really get to know us?
Yes.
And I'm talking about really sit down with you. I ain't talking about I like a movie. I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
really get down to the nitty gritty
Yes.
and get to know you,
Right. Who you
who
are
you really are.
and hear your thoughts.
Man, I'm gonna tell you a
Hear
lot of
your thoughts.
most people don't even much. I'm gonna tell you something. Most people don't they don't know who they
Mm-hmm.
really are.
They
Because
really don't.
if you knew who you really are, you wouldn't waste a
Mm.
lot of time.
You would not waste a lot of time and you would not
Because you know your
allow.
potential.
Exactly.
You know what you can. You know I can do this. I
Mm-hmm.
can be this. I
Yes.
can.
And
If you just
I
yeah
should be
yeah
touching somebody over here. I should be
yeah
helping this and it's so
yeah
many, things that we should be doing.
yeah
But and you won't waste a lot of time and you will not allow certain people and
oh
things
yeah.
waste your time either. You will not. You
You
will not.
won't.
You will put in place the proper boundaries
Yeah,
that you need to reach your fullest
yeah.
potential.
And a lot of times we get and how many people you see doing this? We are laugh at people that be doing all of this,
Right.
but they channeling themselves,
The
and
energy.
it's a lot. It's few people
Hmm.
that it's a lot of people, but it's few people that do
Yes.
that. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
really get in tune with themselves, and I'm saying that because I'm really trying to get in tune
Yeah.
with
And,
myself.
and we just have to keep going at it. We have to
Yeah,
keep doing it. And I'm glad you said that. Use that as an example because um yesterday morning, in my prayer and study time, I heard the word just out of my spirit. Let the words of my mouth. This is a prayer that
mm-hmm.
David said in the book of Psalm. Let the words of my mouth
Right.
and the meditation.
Mm.
That's meditation.
Patient, yeah.
Of my heart
Mm.
be acceptable to God.
Right.
And so I began to sit with myself
Yeah.
just from that one scripture,
Yeah.
and I just began to meditate
Right.
on what it was saying.
Right.
And what I understand is whatever comes out of my mouth
Yeah.
is what
But what's
I'm
in you?
thinking on,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's in you,
Yeah.
what I'm focusing on.
Yeah.
So we can't use an excuse and say, "Oh, I didn't mean to say that.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do you like that,"
Right.
because there was something within
Right.
that is unresolved,
Right.
or is something within that you were carrying
Yeah.
that it came out.
Right.
And so, mm, one thing that came to me, even in this whole sitting and listening to God and just meditating on that scripture, you will know a person's thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and how they feel based on their conversation
Mm.
and what you hear them saying.
Right.
So when you talking to someone, just listen to what they're saying.
Just kick back.
Listen to what they're
Listen.
saying.
Yeah. Because they're gonna tell that, and you right.
And it's nothing that they
Yeah.
can do
Yeah.
to hold it back,
Yeah.
because it's just gonna be a
It's just
natural
gonna
flow.
flow.
It's
Yeah.
gonna come out
Yeah.
because what's
Yeah.
in us
Yeah.
has to come out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what's
Yeah.
in us, and so, man, I began to think about, Lord, for real, for real.
Yeah.
I've heard this scripture almost all my life. For real, Lord, let the words of my mouth And most of all, the meditation. What am I thinking on?
I was told that if you sit back
Yeah.
and you let a person just talk, you will find out a lot about a person when they talk, because they're gonna tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you if you just listen,
Mm-hmm.
they might start off saying this, that. It's been so many times I heard this. How your day going?
Mm-hmm.
It's going fine. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
But then as you start talking,
What's coming out?
now
Complaints.
we going, me and my spouse going through it. My bank account was in the, but you started off by saying everything is good.
Right.
But just letting you talk,
Yeah.
I'm realizing that you got the same issues that most people got.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And we'll put it out there that we good.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we battling them demons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's where we have to be real and authentic with ourselves.
Yeah.
We really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where too, and see, that was one of the things in my pivot in these last couple of years. God began to shed away distance people from me that was always complaining, that were always talking negative about someone else. They didn't necessarily always know the persons or the people, but they had something negative to say. And so the Lord spoke to me and said, you cannot right now in this season, you cannot listen to that because I'm trying to get something to you.
Yeah.
You know, and I was grateful for that because now I see that was not going to be good for me.
So let me ask you this: have it been an issue? Not an issue. Has there been a situation where somebody said something about said something a negative about a person, and that person that they said something negative about wind up being a blessing to you?
Oh yeah. I knew you was gonna say it. I knew you was gonna just wait. I said, come on.
Come on.
Yes. Yeah. And yes.
And just think if you would just listen to that.
Look, God, I mean, it's like now, it's like I see what the Lord was doing. Yeah. He was setting me up for a blessing. You know, and some of those people have become very instrumental.
Yeah, and what you doing?
In what I'm doing, how I'm growing, and how I'm perceiving. I mean, there's so many things they have added and still adding so much value to
That's
me.
That's why I'm finna say adding value to you.
Yes, and
but
not
because
only
because you so focused on the negative, you couldn't even much get the value.
If I had allowed it.
But I'm saying because that person is so focused on the negative, you can't see the good for seeing the negative.
And then that it would have been valuable for them too.
Yeah.
But I realized their lenses.
Yeah.
The lens from which they see through.
Come on.
Is obscured.
Yeah.
They'll filter their mind.
Yeah.
That's why we got that mind what we meditate on.
Jesus.
Yeah, it has to be changed. Yeah. So I'm so grateful because I saw where my enemy was really trying to cheat me out of something that God really had set up for a blessing for me. And it's really not about the person.
It's not.
You know, so you hit it. Bam, bingo.
That's good. That's some good stuff there. That's some really good. That's really good.
Yes.
Because that if man, you could be talking down and you could be talking yourself out of a blessing.
Talking yourself out of a blessing. And you don't know what it is that God wants to do in that. So so we're excited about this learning to pivot, as you all can hear and see. There's so many ways and different areas, and we're just being transparent about our lives. Yeah. And so I want to ask the question before we go to the commercial or to the promotion. Who's out there have had to pivot? What area? Share with us one area in your life, or if you feel liberal, you can share with us a couple. What area in your life have you had to most recent pivot? And we'll listen and tune in and see what you have had to say in the comments. We'll be right back. so excited about what's coming up with our 2024 Powerful Journey Women's Conference with all the phenomenal authors that are releasing their books. Many of us have already launched on Amazon. We still have more coming out. Yours truly, Angela Hayes. You can go to Amazon.com, purchase my book. It is in three
So what
versions.
was the feeling when you went to Amazon and you seen your book on Amazon the first time? What was that feeling?
I was like, wow, it's
I did it.
finally come to life.
I did it.
Yeah. And to see your
Yeah.
work, to see the work that you put in, to see it manifest
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
just it just come out. I mean, it's like birthing a child,
Yeah.
and for the world.
That's
Amazon,
good.
you got people
Yeah.
all over the
Global.
world.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's global.
global.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I want to give a big shout out to our writing coach, Phyllis Jenkins, of the Powerful Journey organization, who pushes us all the way to the max. And just a super superior blessing. She is a woman of excellence, a woman that wants to see all of us succeed. And so I'm happy. I celebrate my sister authors and my fellow brother authors as well that are now published. We are excited about the conference. You can still get your tickets at www.phyllisjenkins.com. You can still get a virtual ticket or an in-person ticket. I am looking forward to seeing you and hearing from you from the conference. And those of you that go to Amazon and purchase my book, please go back and leave your comments and your feedback. I want to hear what you have to say as it relates to the book.
Mm.
Uh, Again, those that don't know the name of the book, it's called More Than Meets the Eye, Made in His Image.
Mm.
And so it is a tool for those of you that want to do that introspective work,
Mm-hmm.
become more self aware.
And so you got
It's a self help.
assignments and stuff that people can do on the inside.
Yes, it's a workable book. So you have some exercises that you can work through. So what I found out on my journeys, especially in the last 4 to 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
one thing I've really learned that when we want to see change in our lives, to take what you have learned. It could have been something you learned from a workshop. It could
Mm-hmm.
have been something you've learned from a webinar, a
Right.
coaching session. Take something from that teaching
Mm-hmm.
and start applying it immediately.
Mm.
That is where, because I couldn't figure out for years, Kenji, how do I get unstuck?
Yeah.
We still talking about pivoting.
Yeah.
How do I get unstuck?
Yeah.
How does this
Yeah.
change? And what I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm
Right.
working to do this, I'm working to do that. I didn't put all this elbow grease, all this elbow work into this. This isn't change. But what I found out is the practical principles that I've learned. You have to immediately start taking. I'm not saying take the big old gulp
Right.
or the big old chunk out and start immediately. But if you start taking bite-sized pieces
Right.
and just putting it into practice,
Right.
you'll start seeing change.
Right.
One of my strategies is, how do you eat a elephant?
Mm. I don't know.
You eat an elephant a little bite at a time.
Little bit. Okay, come on. I got you.
A practical, simple strategy.
Yeah.
I learned this strategy for going back to my work days in court administration.
Right.
When I transitioned, I pivoted
Right.
to a city. This was a new city. This was my first role as an administrator,
Right.
as a department leader.
Right.
And so when I got to the department, and I was taught by one of the best human resources directors,
Right.
and she always trained us in the classes. And she would always say, when you go into a new place, you don't need to start making changes immediately,
Right.
um, unless it's in violation. There's some violations of the law,
Yeah, and you need to. Yeah.
and you need to go ahead and start making those immediate
Right.
changes. But if it's something that you're seeing, maybe it's a procedure, maybe
Mhm.
it's a process that needs to be changed, you don't want to just start making it. You
Right.
want to see what is that staff or those people that have been working there?
Right.
What are they doing?
Can I
How
say
is the dynamics of the organization?
can I say something about change?
Absolutely.
And you said stuck. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when you said that, it reminded me
Mm-hmm.
of me last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for the year before that, the
Okay.
year before
2022.
2022.
Mm-hmm.
So you see this. You don't
Yeah.
see the big studio that I had. The big studio.
Uh-huh.
I had a huge studio.
Okay.
I had like 6 rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had a really big TV deal, and then
Mm-hmm.
I could throw parties and stuff in there. And
Mm-hmm.
I did a comedy show and then all of that. So
Okay.
graduation,
Oh wow.
so wedding, did a wedding in there.
What?
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you something about being stuck,
Mm-hmm.
because you can pivot, and the key thing is accepting change.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm gonna
Yes.
tell you something. I was in that spot in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
2023, I pivoted to this spot,
Okay.
which was a downside,
Okay. Come on.
but it was better.
Yes.
But because I didn't want to accept the change,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted the big glamorous
Right.
studio,
Right.
I went from 6 room to one big room. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And so I pivoted,
Mm-hmm.
but I was stuck here
In the mind.
because I didn't want to accept the fact
Mm-hmm.
that change had occurred.
Yes.
I was so
You-
confused in this when I first started,
Right.
because I wanted to be in that big spot.
Yeah, that's all you can
And
see.
it took me 2024, I just accepted it.
Your paradigm had never shifted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I hadn't accepted the fact
Mhm.
that that's gone.
Right.
That's gone.
Yeah. And you have to
And
learn
you
how
have
to.
to accept what you have now.
Yes.
And I was 2023 mentally, because I had pivoted,
Mm-hmm.
but didn't want to accept that
God.
I had pivoted.
Right.
Less overhead. Listen to me now. Less overhead.
Mm-hmm.
More people coming.
Mm-hmm.
So that means You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
absolutely.
So I just didn't want to accept it, but I kept praying to God and asking God, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I didn't accept the change that occurred.
Wow, that's good.
I hadn't accepted the change.
Right.
So I was stuck.
You talking to somebody.
I was stuck.
Yeah.
But consistently praying,
Mm-hmm.
2024 came, and it's like a light bulb went off.
Mm-hmm.
I got my back.
Right.
And I realized that
Got your mojo back.
Man, look, I realized I can do the same thing that I was
Yes.
doing over there. I can do it here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's less overhead. The more people you get in now,
Less headache.
it's and then everything. Believe it or not, people was telling me that this feel better because it's more intimate.
Intimate. Yeah.
And I was like, well, nah, we need the big, but
Uh-huh.
accepting that and accepting the fact that you pivoted and releasing what you pivot from.
Yeah. Oh, you better
Accepting the
speak.
change.
You better speak.
That's
You gotta.
a major, because sometimes we pivot and we still want to hold on to what we pivoted
Mm-hmm.
from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And man, I'm gonna tell you something. Just even thinking of that,
Mm-hmm.
because that whole year, if I would have just changed my thinking and just would have accepted, maybe I could have done something different in 2023. But it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
because I accept it now, and the only
Right.
thing that I can do is accept it now and move on.
We'll move
you know what I'm
on.
saying?
Yeah.
So we're stuck.
Yeah. And that's where it starts. Stuck starts in the mind.
Yeah.
Because the paradigm has to shift.
Yep.
Your mindset has to shift.
Shift.
And like you
Oh.
said, you have to embrace it. You have to accept it.
Yeah.
And it takes a while sometimes for us to accept it.
Yeah.
You know, coming out of local government, the workplace.
Yeah.
It took me probably almost a year to really grab a hold to this thing.
Yep.
And really see and
Yep.
understand, okay, your season
For
for that is
It's
over.
over.
Let me tell you, it was so over.
Yeah.
Okay, so after my first year, well, I won't even say my first year, but going approaching and going through the first year of being out of that space, so we have the opportunity, so when you're certified in different things in certain areas, so you still have the opportunity. You may have, even though you retired, which I did, um you have the opportunity to still recertify and maintain what you accomplished,
Right.
When you were in that space,
Right.
in that role.
Right.
So that first year, Kenji, okay, yeah. So I emailed the president back of the organization association. Yeah, I'm recertifying. So I recertified with the state.
Yeah.
Did my research classes online and all of that. Sent in my certification. So okay, so I was recertified for 2022.
Yeah.
Okay, so we come on down to 2023.
Yeah.
So okay, so the email is coming up again. Your certification is time to recertify again. You have until such date.
Yeah.
Man, I looked at the thing a couple times. Then I sat on that thing. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna move just yet.
Yeah.
I prayed about it. So at the end, so the result of and the answer to my prayer was that let it go.
Let it go. That's it.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. And so I thought about a scripture say, that I'm now, I'm reaching forth to those things that are ahead of me.
Right.
I forget those things that are behind me.
Yes.
And I press forth to those things that are in front of me.
Yes.
And so one thing that I accepted was that you are no longer an employee, but you are an employer.
Man, come on. See that? And see, I'm gonna tell you something. That pivot right there.
Uh-huh. Oh,
that
goodness.
pivot right there.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Going from a employee,
yes,
to an employer.
Yeah. It's a whole nother mindset.
That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother. Like you say, that's a whole nother way of thinking. That's a different perspective, mindset. It's a whole different. It's a whole different ball game.
Absolutely.
You go from taking the check to cutting the checks.
You're right. And so there's a whole lot of things to try to navigate.
And then not only cutting checks for people, if you remember, because you employ yourself.
You're the first employee.
Well, exactly.
You are the first, and that's one thing. And we talk about the chamber. Who else out there can relate to what we're talking about? Well, where have y'all had to pivot? Where have you all had to pivot? Share with us in the comments. That is one thing we talk about being in the chamber. So, we are members of Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce here in Houston, Texas. And the chamber president, that's one thing she's said ever since I've been in the chamber.
Right.
And then sitting with her and just walking me through, my LLC, the power of that and what your responsibilities is as the managing. Come on, I'm going to help some people. Look, I'm going to help some people with this here. CEO and all of that. She said, you are not a CEO. You are the managing member. So if you have an LLC, you are the managing member.
Yeah.
So, I had to start changing my language. I had to start changing that even on my marketing, on my posting. You are the managing member. If you have an LLC, look at your paperwork. It tells you.
Especially if you're a single member.
Exactly. And she said, Angela, how many employees do you have? And I'm like, no, none. Initially.
Yeah.
She said, yes, you do.
Yes,
she said, you are the employee of your business.
Yep.
You are always the first employee of your business. Yep. So anytime you have paperwork to fill out, I'm helping somebody that's becoming.
And then you even got to have meetings.
You have to have board meetings.
You got to have meetings.
Absolutely. So with an LLC, see, this is pivoting. Somebody may be thinking about getting an LLC.
Yeah.
Someone may be thinking about starting their own business, navigating the terrains of entrepreneurship, business owner. You do with an LLC, we have to have board meetings.
Yeah.
We have to record those meetings. Those meetings are to be reported. Once a year.
Once a year.
Yeah, I know.
And then too, I'm gonna say this here. A lot of people will say, well, I got a DBA. What's the difference between a DBA and the LLC? I'm gonna tell you this here. This the biggest difference.
Mm-hmm.
With an LLC, you can get some money.
Thank you. Yeah.
With an LLC, you can get some money.
Mm-hmm. Right. DBA is just doing business
Just do it
as.
with a DBA. People not going. And I had to learn
They're
that.
not gonna
I
take you
remember I was running
serious.
around with the DBA, and I got my DBA. Woo, 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 woo. But I never could get no money.
Right.
But I got an LLC, and I was able to get some bread.
Right. Okay. Now
You
that's
understand what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. And
so,
this is things people need to know.
with the LLC, you can go get some capital, working capital.
Yeah, and I look, and I'm gonna come back to that.
Yeah.
I look at DBA. It's almost like doing business as.
Yeah.
Of course, those that don't know the acronym, doing business as
Yeah.
such and such, such and such. And so I kind of look at it sometimes as an AKA
Yeah.
with your name.
Yeah, and then too with a LLC, you can do a LLC. Now this is where you're doing
You
something
probably
different.
about to say what I was about to
you
come
can do a
back to.
DBA
Right, that's
under LLC.
correct.
You can do a DBA under LLC
You
because I
can
got
do
two
it.
of them. I got
Yes.
two of them under LLC.
You can do as many
Yeah.
DBAs as you like
Yeah,
under the umbrella of
Of a
your
LLC.
LLC.
yeah.
Yes.
And guess what? They can all be different. You can go get different bank accounts for each one.
Absolutely.
You know, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm gonna stress this here. This is something that I learned from the chamber. LLC, you can go get some money.
Right. You can. Well, you set yourself up differently.
Yeah,
You
you-
structure differently.
Structured totally different.
The structure is different.
Yeah.
You know, and you have other opportunities that someone that doesn't have
Yeah.
LLC
Yeah.
versus just a DBA that
But the
don't
LLC,
have.
when they look at LLC, they look at you as a legitimate company.
a legitimate business.
Like,
Right.
they looking at you as legitimate business.
Why?
It can
Because
be-
you're registered with the state of Texas.
You can go do a business spitting peanuts.
Mhm.
Listen to me.
Mhm.
And put LLC behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Go set up everything that you need to set up
Mm-hmm.
that LLC the correct way.
The correct.
Open up the bank account.
Yes.
And guess what? Spitting peanuts,
Mm-hmm.
you can get some money.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
All because of the way that you structure your
The
business.
way you structure your business. Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
So it makes a difference, you know, when you're
yeah.
trying to pivot. Maybe somebody out there is trying to pivot out of the workplace.
Yeah.
You know, you may be trying to pivot out of a partnership. I don't know. It can be anything.
And then you know what else Leandra taught me?
Mm-hmm.
And this blew my mind. She say, because I was like, I want to do my taxes and I'm trying to write off everything and not owe nothing. She say, see, that's the problem right there. You want to owe. Because when you owe something, that means what? You made money.
Right. That's true. That's true.
If you owe something now, do you
Put you
want
in
to
a
get them
different
all?
bracket.
Do you want to get them all of your money?
No.
You don't want to give them all, so you do write-offs.
Yes.
But you want to, you want to get
Yes.
to a point with your business where you do owe,
Right.
because you own on the profit.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
on the
Because
money
you gotta pay taxes.
because you're gonna write off all of this stuff. And see, this is what happened. I'm gonna tell you what happened.
Uh-huh.
If you write off everything
Mm-hmm.
and you go try to apply for something with your business, they're gonna say, well, how much money did your company make?
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna say, here go my tax. They're gonna say, well, you didn't make nothing because you wrote off
Wrote it
everything.
off. Right.
So write off some.
Yes.
Now this is what was left over. I only pay the taxes on this,
Mhm.
not pay the taxes on all of this.
Mhm,
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you want to owe as a business.
Yeah, and it's very important with talking about taxes. I don't know why we're here. I guess because this is the season.
Yeah.
And but it's all a part of pivoting.
Yeah.
Writing off, your taxes and things like that. That's why it's very important to pay into your taxes quarterly. Now, I'm no tax professional,
Yeah.
and Kenji and I aren't either,
No.
but we are business owners.
Yeah.
And so, as a business owner, this is why it's important to pay quarterly taxes
Yeah, so you
to
don't have that lump sum.
to IRS. And so, you're right. So you will not have to pay that lump sum
Yeah.
of taxes, because whatever that profit,
Trust me,
you got to pay some
trust-
taxes off of it.
Trust me.
You got to pay some taxes.
Trust me, I know.
Trust me, I know too.
Trust me, I know.
Oh, God.
But
Yeah.
but if you got an accountant that can show you how to work your money to where you don't have to, you can have a profit and don't have, because there's ways that you can
Yeah.
you
And you
can
got to
work it
know
to where you,
what can be, you
yeah,
got to know what can be written off.
yeah, yeah,
And you got to know what percentage of
yeah,
something that can, because some of it is not being able to write off, say, for instance, the whole phone bill.
yeah, yeah,
But if there's a certain
percentage,
percentage
yeah,
of it.
yeah,
So, yeah, so it's very important that you do have someone
yeah.
that's very knowledgeable
Because
in that area.
I went, and I'm gonna be transparent. I went looking for a house,
Hmm.
and I'm thinking because my company made, man, my company looked good.
Yeah,
It made this much,
right,
but then they was like, okay, it made that much, but you wrote all of it off.
right.
So that showed that you don't have no income.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I was like, damn, okay, I didn't
You
know that
didn't
at
know it,
first. You
right?
know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's a learning
So now,
process.
I have to,
Yeah,
okay, let's move a little bit different. Let's figure this thing out, because
right.
you want to pay less taxes as possible
You
with
do.
your business. You know
You
what I'm
do.
saying? You want to pay, but then you got to figure out how to have profit
Right.
and how to have, make that profit work a certain way,
Right. Yeah.
where you pay as little taxes on that
Make it work for you.
as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So,
Make it work for
but
you.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
you can LLC, DBA, pivoting from a DBA to LLC. You definitely can go get legitimate working capital.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I'm a witness. I've done it.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do it. And there's other resource. A lot of resources
Yes.
out there that you can open yourself up to. You can learn about. Just expose yourself to.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not gonna go into detail because some of this stuff, some of y'all need to join the chamber of
Chamber, and then
commerce so
yeah,
you
yeah.
can uh,
Mm-hmm.
learn more about that.
Yeah.
But it's just, one thing I want to leave with our audience as we talked about pivoting. I just want to share, it was in pivoting, you learn and you grow.
Yeah.
It's learning and it's growth in
Right.
it. And so pivoting often involves exploring new avenues, which we've talked about here today, or approaches, which inherently fosters learning in our personal lives as well as
Mm-hmm.
our professional
Yep.
growth, right? Whether you're pivoting to a new career, someone may be pivoting in a new career in the market segment. We deal with the market a lot. I deal with the market a lot in what I do as a notary signing agent or a product line.
Mm-hmm.
You have your t-shirts, that's a product line.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Someone else may have handbags. You may have some type of shoes.
Right.
It can be any type of thing. And so the process typically requires acquiring new skills.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh-wee. Knowledge and experiences. And so, audience, you may need to or have to, if you're navigating a pivot or you in the midst of a pivot, you may just have to acquire some new skills.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's all right because you add that to your business resume.
Mm-hmm.
And you need those skills to um help your business grow,
Yeah.
or cause your business to operate at another level,
Yeah.
or put your business in another space
Mm-hmm.
with someone else. So I will say, for instance, I'm going to take as an author
Mm-hmm.
now. Me as an author, I see where it is a business aspect to this.
Yes.
And it's like, wow, this is a whole nother
A whole nother
marketplace.
ball game.
A whole nother marketplace.
Yeah.
So through the process of working, with the editors and things
Mm-hmm.
of that nature, I have learned so much. And I have learned some new skills on the back end of this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to um, really learning more
Mm-hmm.
and seeing how this whole backside of this marketplace works.
Right.
And so don't be afraid to learn something new.
Right.
Don't be afraid to acquire some knowledge in an area. You
Right.
become the expert in that area when you start acquiring knowledge.
Right.
You know, you start learning and be open to those new experiences. Even some of those experiences that may make you feel a little
Accept
uncomfortable.
change.
Yeah, it goes back to accepting
You
change.
gotta accept it.
You may not want to go to the meeting with those community leaders or those instructors or those new uh, people in your community that's and they hidden they coming in heavy.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know what you're going to be exposed to.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know who you're going to meet. You may not want to come to the women's may not want to come to the Powerful Journey conference where I'm going to be a speaker at.
Hey,
But I'm telling you,
it's information.
it's some heavy hitters in the room. It's some great people to connect with. You will be surprised at when you open yourself up to.
Yeah.
And as we said at the top of this broadcast, be willing to accept the change,
That's
be
it.
willing to embrace. You'll be surprised at what's on the other side of it. And so today we just want to come, you know, and share more, continue that conversation because it
Yeah.
was so good on last week.
And
And
I'm walking
just
away today with some nuggets.
oh yeah, and just put more on our audience mind about learning to pivot and think about it in a broader from a broader perspective, but apply the strategy of the elephant, bite off this thing a little at a time.
Yeah.
Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try to be it all to everybody. Don't try to be the end all be all
Yeah.
to every. That's something I had to learn. I
Yeah.
couldn't be the end all. I couldn't be everything to everybody. And just really learn to sit with yourself and focus in. This is part of what I'll be sharing at the workshop. Learning to master yourself, self mastery,
That's it.
self awareness, you know, and being cognizant of what it is that you can do within your scope. So I appreciate all of you for joining this podcast today, the Angela Hayes Podcast Show, Life with No Limits. Again, you can donate to this podcast at Zelle 979-334-2648. And you can follow us on YouTube and on our Facebook page, Unique Foundations Enterprise. I am looking forward to some of you reaching out and being on this podcast because I want your voice to be heard. Have a great evening. God bless.